So yes, I am so happy with my life. The happiest I've ever been. I truly feel like I've hit this stride. Yeah, I didn't know life could be this good. That is how I feel right now. But this time a year ago, I was the saddest, most lost, confused, insecure I've ever been. And I had no motivation. And that's something that I haven't really talked to you guys about. And I haven't talked to you about how I got this happy. And that's what I want to uncover today. I've been having these moments so often throughout the last month where I'm like, I can't believe how much my life and my mindset has changed. And your life can change so much in a year. For today's video, I'm just gonna do a get ready with me, just throw it back, do a little makeup. Before we get started, I'm really excited to talk to you guys about today's sponsor, which is BetterHelp. That is help, not health. Help, H-E-L-P. BetterHelp is a website that matches you with professional therapists that you can communicate with online, over the phone, or on video calls. It's not a crisis line, it's not self-help, it is professional counseling that you can do securely online. When you sign up, BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own professional therapist, and you can start communicating with them within 48 hours of signing up. This service is available worldwide, and you can log into your account at any time to message your counselor. And you can also schedule weekly video or phone sessions, so you never have to wait in a waiting room. If you clicked on this video and you're going through a tough time right now, I really hope my words can help you today, but it also is a really great thing to try therapy. I've done it, I've used BetterHelp, and so have over 1 million people. So I'll have my link below. It's betterhelp.com/church. With that link, you get 10% off your first month. And I really hope you give it a try if you're feeling like you need that nudge right now to do something to help get you on the right track in life. All right, let's get into some makeup here. So I always start with my eyebrows. I got them done today. They're looking quite fresh. I don't know if you guys have heard of the bar of soap technique with your eyebrows. You take a spoolie. So you just get the spoolie wet and kind of go like that. I'm just going to brush them up. It just gives that like lifted look. All right, so when you're unhappy, you know you need to make some sort of change, take action, right? But sometimes you don't know what exactly needs to change. So that's where I started. I really thought about, okay, what are the things that I can pinpoint that are just making me really unhappy that I need to change, because I'm finally gonna do it. And I was able to come up with 3 things off the top of my head. One of them was I wasn't fully confident in myself. I wasn't loving myself. I had a lot of negative self-talk. Number 2 was I wasn't feeling fulfilled with my job. I don't like calling YouTube a job, but it is the sole thing that I was doing for a living. I've been doing YouTube for 13 years now, and you guys have seen for so long how uneasy it has made me that all I was doing was making YouTube videos. And I just felt like until I'm also doing something else, I'm always gonna be in this state of kind of unhappiness. So that was a huge one for me. So I knew I needed to make some sort of change. And so I started with just like the quickest thing that I could change. I remember around this time last year, I was in Los Angeles. I was running away from my problems. I felt like I didn't know what I was like even doing in Seattle. I didn't have a lot of friends. And so I went and I hung out with my twin sister Shelby and her friends. And I have this clip, this video clip, where I seriously in that moment realized like, okay, this is rock bottom for me, I feel like, where I just have been neglecting so many things about my life, and I'm gonna make a change. I feel unhappy. I actually feel quite unhappy. So shortly after that clip, I got in my sister's car and I was waiting for her. And as I was waiting for her, an account that I followed that was a dentist who does porcelain veneers posted, if you take a photo of yourself, like I'll digitally add what it would look like if you had veneers. And I was like, you know what? This is something that I've wanted to do for a long time now. I talked about this in my video of getting veneers. My teeth were something that were an insecurity for me, for sure. I felt like my teeth were kind of small and they made me look younger. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna send in this photo and see what happened. A couple days later, I got the photo back. I was like, wow, I love how that looks. I'm gonna get veneers. And I'm not saying like going and getting veneers or like plastic surgery or anything like that is gonna change your life. For me, it was like the mentality was really important. I finally reached a point where I was like, no, I'm gonna live my life for me and not be afraid of what other people are gonna think about me, because I had wanted to get veneers, but I was so caught up in like, how is everyone else gonna judge me for it? And once I finally did it, I was so happy with the result. And honestly, they have changed my life. I do feel a lot more confident. I look back on old photos around this time last year and I can't even believe it. I always just felt like younger than everyone else. Growing up in sports, I would always be like one of the youngest kids on the team. Even in school, I had some friends that were not very good friends that I'm not friends with anymore, kind of like brush things off as if I were younger too. I don't know if this is making any sense, but I remember I had this one friend, she liked this guy, and the guy didn't end up liking her, the guy ended up liking me, and she straight up said to me, wow, I can't believe he likes you over me. Like, if he likes you, why wouldn't he like me? And it was kind of sad because actually I feel like I was so conditioned to be used to feeling that way. When she said that, I kind of just believed her. I was like, I know, like, you're so much better than me. Yeah, that was bad. That was something that I kind of worked through on my own. Maybe someone out there, maybe one of you also has felt this way, where you have people you're surrounded by and you just feel like the baby around everyone else, and it makes you feel not good enough for some reason. And it can really affect your like pursuing relationships as you grow up as an adult and the kind of people you go after. Are you going after people that, I don't know, aren't that awesome of people because you don't think you deserve better? Maybe. That's where I think it can like affect a person. The friendships, relationships that you're choosing to let into your life. You know, you want really quality people. And if you're still like deep down like working through these weird feelings of I'm not good enough, then you're gonna surround yourself with people that aren't that great of people, because that's what you think you deserve. But yeah, pretty much overnight though, the veneers did give me a confidence boost. I did a little like mini makeover on myself. That was just one thing. I see these on YouTube all the time, you know, where people call it like a 24-hour glow up and they go like get a spray tan, get eyelash extensions, pick out a new outfit, all these things. And honestly, I love those videos because it's cool to take care of yourself and do things that make you happy and more confident. And so do what makes you happy. I felt a lot better about myself and I kind of like fixed that problem for me. Also, I just bought this powder at the store and it's in the flavor banana, and I'm like, is it gonna smell like banana? It in fact does not smell like bananas. This is actually really nice. Been really into blush lately. I think it can really sculpt the cheek actually a lot more than bronzer because it just like pulls it out. All right, there's the face. Using this palette. This is the Jason Wu palette. I love matte eyeshadows. And lastly, lips. This is my favorite part, really pulls everything together. While I'm doing my lip liner, I actually have a confession to make. No one has ever assumed this, no one's ever asked me or noticed, but I've actually gotten lip injections before. I just thought now was a good time to tell you all. I've done it. This was a week before the world shut down from the pandemic. I wanna say like well over a year and a half ago that I did this. You know, they say it lasts like 6 months or something, but actually I definitely still have some in here, some injections. Here's what I'll say. Again, something I thought about for a long time. It's really hard when we live in this world, like people can just manipulate the way they look and it creates a standard of beauty where how do you keep up? I mean, come on, it's ridiculous. It is, you just go on Instagram and you're like, wow. Okay, I'm a potato, always cool. Now we live in this strange time where anyone can go get their face shot up with a bunch of injections and change the way they look, and it's kind of crazy. And I'm not an advocate for or against it. I have done it a tiny bit, and the few things that I have done to myself truly have made me happier and more confident in who I am. So in that way, I'm not an advocate against doing something that's gonna make you happy. But I also just like use extreme caution with it, and less is more. Like, I got lip injections over 1.5 years ago, and I got like half a syringe, and that was enough for me to be like, okay, yes. But you go on Instagram and all of a sudden you see these procedures where people are getting like their eyes pulled back and like their cheeks injected more and more, and I don't know, just, you don't need all of that. That's my thought on that. And there is my makeup. I'll have all the products I used linked below, by the way. This was fun. I haven't just like had fun filming a video just like doing my makeup in so long, because YouTube became very unfun for me. Okay, let's move on to my hair and how I really solved my millennial life crisis, quarter life crisis, what most people call it. The struggle of wanting to find purpose in your life and some sort of direction. But first, I've been curling my hair differently for the first time in over 10 years. So I used to use just like a hair curler and do the whole like wand technique. And then one day I decided to actually use the clamp. So this is what I do, and I've been really loving it. It just gives a different look that I think is really fun. I just take a piece and I clamp it in about halfway, like that. And then I turn it, and then I let it move 1 inch, and I rotate it again a little bit, and then move it, rotate again a little bit until it gets to the end, and then I let it go. And I'm telling you, by the end of this, it's gonna look so cute. So actually what really helped me get out of my millennial life crisis was a self-help book. Have any of you ever heard of The Defining Decade? It's such a good book. So I'm gonna have The Defining Decade linked below. I love it so much. After I finished it, I bought 4 more copies just to give out to friends whenever I was in a conversation where I feel like they needed to read this. Not even in an offensive way. If you feel perfectly fine in your life, in your 20s or 30s right now, I still think you should read it. Everyone can gain something from this book, and it's truly amazing, and it pushed me to change my life. It really did. So The Defining Decade is about how so many people view your 20s as like a time to just like make mistakes and say like, fuck it, it's fine, I'm in my 20s. But actually, a lot of the things that you do in your 20s define the rest of your life. The habits you make, the decisions you make, the friendships you form in your 20s, the things you do, the good decisions you make, and finding how to be in the right direction, it just like compounds, right? And like makes the rest of your life go into the best trajectory possible. And if you just fuck off in your 20s, then in your 30s, it's already getting a little bit too late. I loved that because that's always how I've felt. I've always felt like I wanted to make the most out of my 20s, but I felt like I just wasn't doing it. So this book was like really perfect for me because it taught me what to do. Being in my 20s and claiming my 20s and making the most of it. This book was actually my first introduction to therapy, actually, because it's written by a therapist. Her name's Meg J. She also has a TED Talk that's really good. I'll have that linked below too. I didn't really know much about therapy. I don't know how that could help people. And I read this book and I just feel like I got to kind of have a therapy session through other people and their experiences that she shares. And that's when I realized how valuable it was. And that's actually, after I read this book, I signed up for BetterHelp because I was like, okay, I need to get more tailored advice for my own situation. There's 2 things she talks about in this book that I took away from this that really changed my life. The first one is identity capital. I had never heard this term before. I think she might have made it up herself. Maybe not, I could be wrong, but it's basically identity capital is just the collection of experiences in your life that are a part of your identity that just make you interesting, basically. And I had never really thought about the experiences that make me an interesting person. And it pushed me to think, how could I further my identity capital? I don't know, it just made me engage more with life, with people. It made me want to learn more, get new hobbies. Like one of the things that recently I've added is actually enjoying cooking, trying to get better at making like nice meals. You know, there's so many people out there, and I was like this too, where I was like, I hate cooking. I'm lazy. All I want to do is warm stuff up in the microwave. And like, that's fine if you want to be that way, but it's cool to care about cooking and like make good stuff at home. But I did realize a large part of my capital was making YouTube videos and being a YouTuber. And while that's cool and all, I realized in some ways how it was unhealthy and how I felt forced to share like every moment of my life online. And then I'd get mean comments, and because I felt like it was the only thing I had, the only thing that made me interesting, if I had a bad day or a video didn't perform well or I got mean comments, I just would take it so personally, and it was super unhealthy, my relationship with YouTube, because YouTube really was my whole identity, I realized. And so then the other part in this book that I really took to was this part where she's talking to one of her clients. It was this guy who didn't like what he was doing. I forgot exactly what he was doing, but bottom line, he didn't like what he was doing. But he wouldn't change what he was doing because he said he felt like he was stuck in the middle of the ocean, and he was afraid of choosing some sort of decision and swimming far over to one side and then it being the wrong decision and being like, oh my gosh, I'm so far on the wrong side of the ocean now, like how am I gonna get back over to where I need to be? And that's how I felt. I felt like with YouTube, it was fine, it was a safe bet, but I was in limbo in the middle of the ocean and making the most random videos, and I'm an expert in nothing, and it makes me not happy. Every time I uploaded, I did not feel excitement and joy. I felt nervous and just like in a bad mood because there's pressure for it to do well, and also YouTube has become a really negative place. There's a lot of mean comments. So the author said, but if you don't make any decision at all, you're still stuck in the middle of the ocean, and honestly that's worse than being on the complete wrong side, because you're just gonna be stuck in the middle of the ocean forever. And that's when I really was like, okay, that's me. I'm swimming in the middle of the ocean, and I know I have a couple options in front of me, and it's time to decide on one of them. And one of those options was pursuing a career in real estate and becoming a real estate agent. I had been thinking about it for probably about 6 months, but it was exactly that. I was afraid to put the time in and realize that maybe I wouldn't like it, and then that I was pushed further in the wrong direction of where I was supposed to be, and then that I just kind of like wasted time. And after I read that chapter, it pretty much sealed the deal. I was like, I need to make a decision, some sort of career move, do something. Looking back now, I'm so glad it pushed me to do it, because now I'm a real estate agent and I love it. So this is how the curls turn out. I just feel like they're bigger, looser. I've been really into this lately. Over the course of the last year, finally making a decision to swim in some sort of other direction has changed my life. It really has. I found that it was very unhealthy, the relationship that I had with YouTube, because it was basically my identity. It's all I ever knew. It was what I relied on. And if I uploaded a video and it wasn't doing well, it would 100% affect my mood. If I got some negative comments, I would really take it personally. And that was really hard because you can't control how a video is going to perform, and people are mean on the internet, and it was just like two things out of my control that were controlling me. And by putting something else into my life in between those things, it's giving me back my power of my own life. If a video doesn't get that many views, that's okay, because I enjoyed making it and it's not my only source of income, and it's not my only source of fulfillment either. That taught me how important balance is in your life. Nothing should be 100% your identity, you know, whether that is your job or it's a friendship or it's a relationship, or it's no one thing should feel like your entire world. And that's what it was doing for me. And now that I'm out of that, I'm like, ah. So to prove to you guys my identity capital and one of the things that I've really been working on, I'm getting hungry. I'm gonna make one of my favorite new meals to make, and that's scallops. It's delicious. And while I do that, I'm gonna talk to you guys about the last piece of the puzzle that I figured out within the last year that's really fulfilled me and made me feel so much better about my life. And that is friendships and relationships and how you deal with those in your 20s. I'm going into the store. I have a feeling they're not gonna have scallops. All right, I left with some rosé, green onion, and some pita chips. They didn't have scallops, but my dedication to getting scallops is unwavered still. And we're gonna go to every grocery store until we find scallops. Kind of shocked if Safeway has them. Oh my, there they are. Oh, they secured the bag. I got the scallops. We're gonna make a creamy cashew rice. And the final piece to me really feeling happy and fulfilled came to my friendships and relationships with people. Last year, let me tell you, it was such a mess. People talk about how relationships come and go and friendships are forever, but that isn't true. No, friendships can come and go too, and I've definitely had my fair share of friendships that needed to end for various reasons, and it can definitely suck. And I feel like this time last year, I had some friendships end. There's no crazy drama attached to it, and since then, I've definitely gained new friends. There's also a whole other side to this. I don't know about you guys, but I have certain friend groups where everyone is single, and then I have other friend groups where everyone is in a serious relationship or like starting to talk about marriage. And that's a weird spot to be in too, when you're the single one or the one in a relationship. Like, I don't know, it's really weird when the majority of the group is something that you're not. Within my best friend group, I have always been like the single one while they're all happily in relationships. And now some of them are married and starting to talk about marriage and moving in together and, you know, like really big steps in life. And when you're like still the single one, sometimes it makes you feel like, is there like something wrong with me here? But there's not. Everyone's timeline is different. You should never just settle for someone that's convenient just because you're lonely and don't like being by yourself. You should just learn how to enjoy being by yourself. And that's what I've done. I feel like if anyone out there just needed that pep talk, because it definitely can kind of get to you sometimes. So you have friends, everyone's in different phases of life, everyone's busy, you're growing up, there's more responsibilities. And also with that I feel like no one talks about is the fact that you don't really like see your friends that often anymore, even the single ones, unless you're living together. If you're living together, it's like so easy to see people. You know, you don't hang out with your friends like you did when you were a kid or when you were in high school or when you were in college. Unless you're living with people, you're probably not going to see them that often, maybe once a week if you're really putting in the effort. And that's okay. It's honestly normal. It's a part of growing up. We all are busy with our jobs and things like that. And I don't know, sometimes I just catch myself like maybe getting really caught up in work, and then suddenly it's a Saturday afternoon and I made no plans. And then I'm kind of sad because I'm like, shoot, I feel lonely and like I have no friends. I found a balance in that too. And what I like to do, what really keeps me happy is, you know, working basically all the time on videos and real estate and all the things. And all I really need in life to be happy and fulfilled socially is like one night a week that I get to hang out with my friends. Just once a week, some sort of outing, and then I'm super energized and happy for the rest of the week, and I feel really good about my friendships and all of that. Oh, yes. Like, I just love making stuff like this now. Cooking is really fun. And that's gonna be it for today's video. You know what it is? Every start of summer, I just get in my feels a little bit and feel like reflecting. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time with a more fun video where I'm not just hanging out at my parents' house. I'll go out and do something fun. I actually want to get a new car this summer. I'm gonna test drive some new cars this week. I'm so excited. If you're still watching this, comment below what model and make of car you think I'm gonna get. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.